This video is packed with 41 fun summer crafts you can do with your kids. We're going to start with all of these pieces of scrap colored paper. These are the kind of projects that I love using. That's why I keep all these pieces of scrap paper. We're going to take two round objects. One is going to be a little larger than the other one. Two markers, a black one and a pink one. We're also going to use Elmer's glue stick, my scissors, and we are going to be using a regular copy paper. And this puncher is the shape of a hole. You do not need to use this if you don't have one, but if you have one, it really does help, but you can also cut it as well. I'm going to cut off the shape of the larger round object. I'm just going to trace it on this bright stock paper. I get these on Amazon, and I do have them on my Amazon store, and it's always linked in the description box if you want to check it out. I'm going to do the same thing with the smaller round object. Trace it on yellow paper and then cut them off. So now we have a larger and a smaller circles, just like that. Love the colors too. All right, we're going to take this piece of scrap blue paper and we're going to cut off a larger triangle, and we're going to cut off a pink one, but it'll be a little smaller. We're going to attach the smaller triangle to the smaller circle. We're just going to add a little bit of glue and we're going to place it right there. We're going to make little fishes, and you have to see how adorable these are. Same thing with the larger one. We're just going to add it right there to the end. Now we're going to start hole punching some paper here, just two of them. We're going to start with one of them. We're going to remove it from the puncher, and then we're going to glue it onto the front of the larger fish, and this is going to be the eyeball. We're going to do the same thing with the smaller one. I contemplated making it smaller, but you know what? It worked out. It was a good size for both of them. And I am simply just going to glue it right there in the front. I am now going to take my black marker. You can use crayons or coloring pencil as well. And we're just going to make a smaller black circle right in the center of the white circle, just like that, to create what will look like eyes. Now we are going to start hole punching a ton of circles using different colors of paper. Again, this is where you want to just use all those pieces of scrap paper from other projects and just start cutting them out. And then once you have enough, you can always just remove them. And if you need more, that's okay. I actually needed to make a few extra ones, but that's fine. Once I had the circles, we are going to fold them in half, all of them, and then we're going to start gluing them with the glue stick on my fishes here. Now, these are going to be the fish scales. So we are going to put the flat side facing the front, making a straight line down the bottom. Then we're going to start in a color pattern, but you don't have to keep a pattern. Just do it to where all the colors are nicely evenly separated. And we're going to do it from the front to the back, overlapping them just a little bit. Look how adorable this is looking. Oh my word. Okay, so now we just want to add a cute little details with some black stripes right there on the tail, on the fin. There you go. Now we're going to take the pink marker and we're just going to make a cute little mouth on our fish. And then we're going to start doing the same thing on the little baby one. Again, we're just going to fold the circles and just start applying them one by one, leaving a straight line towards the front, overlapping each circle as needed, and just adding the glue stick. You can use a white glue as well if you do not have a glue stick. Again, we're going to just do from the front to the back, and once we have them attached, we're going to add the details on the tail, and then we are going to add the mouth on this beautiful little tiny baby fish. And look how adorable they look together. You can make as many as you want. These will look great if you put a ton of them on a white wall or on your bedroom wall. How fun would that be? Let me know what you think. With a blue paper. This is construction paper. It's also some stock paper that I had on hand. We're going to use different color paper. Use whatever you have on hand. We're also going to be using some googly eyes, a straw, and I'll show you why we're using a straw in a little bit, some white paint, my scissors, some hot glue, but you can use white glue if what you have, some rhinestone stickers from the Dollar Tree, some beige paint. This is Sandstone by Waverly, brown paper as well. We're going to start by making some goldfishes. So I'm going to go real slow here so you can see. We're just going to make the shape of what it will look like a teardrop, and then a triangle at the end, just like that. And we're going to make 4 of them. Now you can make as many as you want, and you can make them in any color you want. Then we're just going to cut them using the scissors, and they don't have to be perfect, just the shape of cute little fishies. My daughter is helping me with this one, so you'll see her hands coming in and out. All right, so we are going to paint the bottom of the blue sheet in the beige color. This is going to mimic some sand because we are creating our own fish tank. We're just going to make little hills and just whatever you want. It does not matter. And then once we have it where we want it, we're just going to put it to the side, let it dry. In the meantime, we're going to add some googly eyes to the fishes. We're going to add some tiny ones to the little baby fishes and then work our way up into larger ones. And we're going to use some color ones as well, but use what you have at home. You can also draw them if you'd like. Now, once we have the fishes nicely ready, we are going to make a treasure chest. So we're going to use this brown paper and we're just going to make the shape of a treasure chest. Do whatever you feel you want to do. We're going to cut it and then we're going to use my permanent marker and my ruler. We're just going to draw some lines to make it look a little bit more like a treasure chest. This is where we're going to bring in the rhinestone stickers from Dollar Tree. You can find these at the dollar store year round, and we're just going to use a couple of them. One, it's going to go right in the front, and then we're going to use some here in just a little bit. First, we're going to hot glue, or you can use white glue, the treasure chest right there at the bottom, and then add some more of those rhinestone stickers all around it like it has some treasures in it. All right, so now we're going to dry fit the little fishes kind of to see where we want them. And then we're going to hot glue them. My daughter is helping me. So we're just going to face some one way, face some the other way. And again, you can add sharks, you can add crabs, you can add whatever, seahorses, starfishes, whatever you want. All right, now we're going to make some bubbles. So we're going to place some paint on the cap of the white paint. And then we're going to dip the tip of one end of the straw. And then we're just going to place some bubbles everywhere. What a fun way. Now, if you have different size straws, even better. I only had this one, so we're just going to make it work. And then with the tip of one of my paint brushes, I'm just going to add some white dots here and there to mimic even smaller bubbles. Again, add as many or as little as you want. Now we're going to take some green construction paper from Dollar Tree and we are going to cut little tiny strips, and then we are going to make what will look like seaweed. So we're just going to hot glue it, or you can glue it at the bottom, twirl it around or curl it around, and then hot glue the top, cut off any excess. You can do as many as you want. We're just going to do different ones here and there and also in different sizes. Now that we have these in place, I am going to place some of these faux greenery, like little pigs that I use for my other crafts for home decor. You don't have to do this, but if you do have them, go ahead and glue them to wherever you want. You can also draw, use markers, paint to draw leaves, to draw more seaweed, whatever you want. So I'm just going to add some here and there. It's just going to make everything pop and really add that 3D look that I really love. So we're just going to add a couple extra little leaves here and there around the treasure chest just to kind of bring everything together. And that's it, my friends. Look how cute this is. What a fun craft. And again, you can add whatever you want to it. What do you think? We're going to start with these popsicle sticks. I love working with these. You're going to need 11 of them. We're also going to need 3 markers or whatever color markers you want. You can use paint as well as coloring pencils or crayons. We're going to use some jute string. We're going to use my scissors as well as some masking tape, or you can use any regular tape you want. I'm going to be using one of these little clothespin. This one has a little seahorse that I got at Dollar Tree, but if you do not have one of these, you can definitely use one of the regular ones. These are like the medium-sized ones, and you can always paint it in whatever color you want. I'm also going to be using hot glue, but you can use any glue you have at home. We're going to start with 9 of the popsicle sticks. We're just going to place them on this piece of paper and put 2 of them to the side. We're going to put 3 of them. We're going to leave in the natural wood tone. So we're going to put those to the side, and then we're going to make little bundles of 2, and we are going to color them using 1 color on 2 of each of the popsicle sticks. We're going to start with the green, and again, I'm using markers, but you can certainly use whatever you have at home between paint, crayons, or coloring pencils. I have these markers in my Amazon store, which is linked down below in the description box. They are great. They're double-sided tips. Love, love, love them. I'm going to do 2 of them green, 2 of them darker blue, and then 2 of them in the lighter blue But again, choose whatever color combination you want. So once I have them painted, it's a matter of then just finding a nice pattern or design that I want. Now do whatever you want. And if you're using the smaller popsicle sticks, you may just need a few more of them instead of just 9 of them. So I'm just going to stagger them again and just place them in the design that I want. And then I'm going to flip them, keeping the design, but flipping upside down because we are going to hot glue them together. So once I have them flipped, I do want to have like an uneven edges. This is just a design that I chose. So I'm just going to move the popsicle sticks up and down depending on kind of what I like to see. And I want those edges to look like that. But you can certainly just stagger them and stack them nice and straight. Up to you. Now we're going to take the 2 leftover popsicle sticks. We're just going to add hot glue all the way from the top to the bottom and place 1 on each side. And that way this is what is going to hold it all together. I am using hot glue, but again, you can use whatever glue you want. Once I have it nice attached, we're going to flip it over and we're going to make a cute little picture frame holder or a note holder. Now, before we do flip it over, we are going to attach this jute string. We're going to hot glue it in place as well as tape it. I just added a little loop. This is just so that we can hang the picture frame if we'd like, just like that. Now, once we flip it over, you're going to see the design, and I love the way it turned out. Those colors are so pretty. I'm going to hot glue the little clothespin with the seahorse right there on the top. Now, again, you can add a photo to this. You can add a note, whatever you want. I'm just going to make a little note here for my son. I'm going to put, "I love you, Mom," because the colors really match his style. I'm just going to give this one to him. Love, love, love the way this one turned out. Such a fun craft and such an easy craft. I'd love to know what you think of this one, but don't go anywhere because I have another craft for you. All right, so for this next craft, we're going to start with some foam board. This is from Dollar Tree as well as a ruler, whatever ruler you have. I'm going to use these pom-poms from the Dollar Tree. You can find them in the craft aisle. I'm going to use my blade knife, but you can use your scissors if you'd like. I'm going to use hot glue, but again, you can use any glue you want as well. I'm also going to use some blue yarn, but you can use any color you have. And then we are going to start by marking. We're going to start marking 9 inches and 7 inches, okay? Then we're going to make a rectangle. So we're just going to join all the sides together. Then we're going to use a blade knife and we're just going to cut it off. We're going to make another picture frame, but this one's going to be a little different and I can't wait to show you. Once I have it cut off, we want to make another rectangle right inside. So we're just going to mark 1.5 inches from each side. And then we're just going to trace it and again mark and cut as needed so that we have the opening of the picture frame. So the whole piece is 9 inches by 7 inches. And then on the inside, we're just going to mark 1.5 inches on each side. And then we are just going to mark and cut as needed using my blade knife again. But remember, you don't have to use a blade knife. You can use scissors, whatever you have available. All right, so now that we're going to snap that off, we're just going to put that to the side. Now I'm going to make a straight line on each side, right there in the center of each side. Nothing fancy. This is going to help us put all those corners into separate sections, and you're going to see why. We're going to start with this corner. We're just going to wrap around the blue yarn, attaching it with hot glue in the beginning and the end. And then once I reach the other side, that corner, we're just going to attach it again, cut off the excess, and then we're going to wrap the other corner or the other side. We're just going to alternate. So we're going to have blue, white, and do the same thing all around the frame. And don't worry, we're going to cover the other sides with the pom-poms. But for now, we're just going to focus on the blue yarn or whatever yarn you have. So you see here, we skipped one side. Now we're going to do that side in the blue. All right, so we're almost done attaching the blue yarn, and now we're going to bring in the pom-poms. Now, this is where you can just have fun. Add whatever you want, okay? Whatever color scheme, whatever design. I'm just going to add a strip of hot glue and then start adding the pom-poms all the way from the top to the bottom. And I'm going to do this in all of the sides that are bare. How adorable is this looking? How fun. All right, so here's what it's looking like, and I'm loving it. We're going to cut a piece of jute string, and we're going to add hot glue to the back. We're just going to place it like we did the previous picture frame. We're going to secure it in place with masking tape. That's just going to make everything very secure and not go anywhere. I'm going to use my daughter's 5x7 picture. We're just going to place it right in the center, securing it with a little bit of masking tape in each corner. And that's it, my friends. What a great gift idea. What a fun craft you can do with your kiddos. I love the way this one turned out. Let me know what you think of this one. Let me know which one is yours. We're going to start with a piece of plain white copy paper, this beautiful teal yarn, as well as this multicolor one. We're going to use a pipe cleaner. We're also going to be using a brown marker as well as a brown coloring pencil, but you can use a crayon as well. Some hot glue. We're also going to be using a ruler and my scissors. We're going to begin by coloring the entire page using my coloring pencil, but again, you can use your brown crayon if you'd like. We don't need to do it heavy. We just want to do it lightly, coloring from the bottom to the top. Once that's colored in, you can then take your brown marker and your ruler and just start making diagonal lines, leaving about, about a half an inch in between, give or take. Now my marker was losing its ink, so I had to switch to my coloring pencil and it worked really well. So use whatever you have on hand. Then once we have all those lines all the way down, we're going to make opposite diagonal lines to create the shape of little tiny squares going sideways. Now we are going to roll the paper into a cone shape, and once you have it nicely pointed in the corner, just add a little bit of hot glue or whatever glue you have on hand and just tighten it, and then we're just going to cut off the excess on the top. I decided to then add an extra cone because I had excess paper, so we're going to do the same thing, making a smaller cone and cutting off the excess on top. This was just a bonus one. There we go. We have a larger one and a small one. We are now going to take this notepad. It's about 6 inches long and is perfect. We're going to start rolling it around several times. Now this is the yarn that I picked and the color that I chose, but you can choose any color you want. I'm going to roll it around quite a few times and then grab an additional piece. We're going to remove it from the notepad, and then we're just going to tie it in the center with a simple knot. Essentially what we're creating is a large pom-pom. So once you tie it tightly in the center, we're just going to then cut off all the loops using my scissors. Then once I had all the loops cut off, we're just going to start giving it a haircut, and we're just going to remove any excess, creating a circle-like form. Once you have it in the shape you want, just add hot glue on the rim of your cone and then place the yarn ball right on top, just like that. I'm going to take this paint tray, it's about 4 inches long, and we're going to make a smaller yarn ball using this multicolor yarn. Same thing, I rolled it around several times, removed it, tied in the center, and then we're going to cut off open all the loops. And once again, we're going to shape it in a nice circle-like, and then once it's nicely cut and trimmed, we're going to hot glue it on top of the other yarn. I am now going to take the red pipe cleaner, and we are going to just start rolling it around in a little circle. We're just creating a little ball. This is what's going to look like a little cherry on top of the ice cream. If you have a red pom-pom, you can use that as well, but I wanted to show you an alternative. So we're just going to keep rolling it around until we have a cute little ball just like that. We're going to add a little hot glue and just hot glue it right on top. Look how cute. Oh my goodness. Now we're going to do the same exact thing with the smaller cone. Again, this was a bonus one. We're going to take some blue yarn, do the same steps, tie it in the center, cut it off, shape it into a ball, hot glue it to the cone right like that. We're going to take this red yarn. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to make a smaller little yarn ball, wrapping it around the paint tray, tie it in the center, again, opening all the loops. And then we are going to shape it into a nice ball, and then we're going to hot glue it on top of the blue yarn. Now for this one, instead of using a pipe cleaner, I am going to use a pom-pom that I got at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use a yellow one, and we're just going to hot glue it on the top, just like that. Now, if you want to shape and cut off any excess yarn, you can do that at this point. Just do it as much or as little as you want. And I think it's absolutely gorgeous. How fun is this craft? You can make as many as you want. gift them to friends, and for a birthday party, we're going to start with this poster board from Dollar Tree. It doesn't matter what poster board you use, just make sure it's white. I'm going to use my scissors as well as a pencil. I'm going to use this tape as my round object. I love this one because it has one side that is round and the inside is round that's smaller. You can also use two different round objects, one that would be smaller than the other. We're going to use different colors of markers. We're going to use a yellow, light green, green, black, orange, and red. But you can also use coloring pencils or crayons or even paint. We're going to start by tracing the tape, both the outside of it as well as the inside. And we're going to do this 3 times. We're going to create fruit slices, okay? Fun way to do something like this in the summer. And for the last piece, we are just going to cut off a square, or kind of looking like a square for now. We're going to start cutting around these circles just to kind of cut off all the excess poster board. We're going to do the same thing to all 3 round ones. For the square one, we're just going to cut it into a smaller square, and then we're going to round off one side. And we're going to do half a circle, and then we're going to cut it into what will look like a little ice cream cone, or maybe even a slice of pizza with a rounded end, just like you see here. This one's going to be our watermelon. Now, I forgot to trace the inside, so I'm just going to do it now. So we just want to trace it and have that look. With the green marker, we are going to just paint in or color in the edge, and then with the red marker, we're going to do the inside, because of course it's a watermelon. And then we want to put little seeds, so I'm going to take the black marker and we're going to create what will look like little seeds. How cute is this watermelon slice? Now I want watermelon. All right, so we're going to do similar to the other one, but this one's round, of course. I'm going to use the end of this marker. I'm going to trace it in the center just to kind of keep me straight. Now, this is going to be a lemon slice, and I made a little mistake. I should have made the inside, so these little loops that look like a flower, I should have made them smaller so that they wouldn't touch each other. So ideally, you want to see a lot of white in between each one. But you live and learn, and I'll show you how I made another slice look different. So I'm going to paint the outside perimeter in the white, sorry, not white, in the yellow. And then we're going to paint all the inside, those little loops that we made, yellow. And this is where you see how it kind of joined on that one end. And that's okay. It still looks like a lemon slice. For this one, we're going to do the lighter tone green. We're just going to fill in the outside, and then we're going to make a couple of stripes right there outside of the white, just in between the white and the light green. Then we're going to take the black marker and we're just going to make dots. I was thinking this will look like a kiwi, but now it looks more like an apple pear. I don't know. What do you think? All right, for the next one, we're going to make an orange slice. So similar to the lemon slice, but again, I learned my lesson. So once I finished coloring the outside, I made a circle, and then the little loops, I did make them smaller. So now there's plenty of white in between each. Looks so much better. Now I am going to erase as much lines as I see here and there just to clean it off a little bit. Look how cute these look. All right, so now we're just going to attach them to some popsicle sticks. I'm going to use hot glue, but you can use whatever glue you have at home. And I'm going to do one on each stick. This would be such a fun project to do with friends during the summertime and summer break. Love the freshness of them. You can make as many fruits as you want. It's all about having fun. What do you think about this one? Let me know. We're going to start with this poster board from Dollar Tree in cups in this size. We're also going to use 2 round circle items, one bigger than the other. Make sure that the difference is pretty big. We're going to use some scrap pieces of paper as well as some brighter colors. Just make sure you have green and then some brighter colors. We're going to use this wooden flower from Dollar Tree, but you can also freehand a flower if you want. I'm going to use some double-sided tape. I'm also going to use my scissors, and we are going to use a pencil so we can trace. I'm also going to use a ribbon. I'm just going to grab any ribbon that complements the colors of the paper. This is leftover ribbon from Easter. I'm going to trace the larger round object on the poster board, and then we are going to trace the smaller one centered in the middle of it. This is why it needs to be a lot smaller, because we want to have between 3 to 4 inches in difference between. So we're going to trace that, and then we are just going to cut. we are making a fun paper wreath. Now on my other DIY channel, I have another crafting channel. It's called DIY Beauty on Purpose. I create wreaths all the time, but I gotta say, this is my first with paper. I'm so excited. All right, so we're just gonna cut off the center of it. So basically I just poked a hole and then just cut with my scissors. Now we're gonna start tracing some flowers in the green paper. I'm gonna use a total of 11 flowers in the green, and then we're gonna make less amount in the other colors. I'm just going to trace a couple, and then I'm just going to fold the paper, and that way when I'm cutting, I can cut double the amount of flowers. Again, we're going to do a total of 11 green ones. And there you have it. We have 11 of them. We're going to put that to the side. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to use this bright pink paper. Now, this paper is from Amazon. I buy it. It's stock paper, actually. The previous paper was construction paper. You can find that at Dollar Tree as well. So we are going to trace some yellow ones also, and we're just going to cut them again because we want to have some flowers on our wreath. Now, this next part is optional. I do want to have a circle middle portion, so I'm just going to use my hole puncher in this circle shape, and I'm just going to cut a few in the yellow and a few in a purple. And you can also paint or color in this on each flower. I ran out of two-sided tape, so we're just going to use some glue stick. All right, the goal here is to add the green flowers first, and we're just going to add it all the way around until the entire white ring is covered. And then we are going to add the flowers alternating in colors. And you can use as many flowers or as little amount of flowers as you want. I am now going to place the purple circles on the yellow flowers and the yellow circles on the pink flowers. And they look so stinking cute. We're going to flip it over and we're going to use the ribbon. We're just going to cut out a piece that's about maybe 20 inches wide. It doesn't matter, or long. We're going to fold it in half. Now I'm going to hot glue it in place, but you can staple it. You can also tape it in place. It's not a heavy piece, so use whatever you have on hand. Love the way this turned out. You can do this for spring, summer, Christmas, fall. Just change up the colors of the paper. Love it. Would love to know. We are using a pool noodle in a very different way. So just grab a pool noodle from the dollar store. We're also going to need a poster board, just a piece. Any piece is fine. A paper plate to put our paint on. We're going to use my scissors. We're also going to use a green marker. Any shade of green is fine, but I think the darker the better. And 6 different colors of paint. You choose whatever colors you want. You're also going to need any ribbon. Any ribbon is fine, just as long as it complements the design. And a serrated knife to cut foam. This one I got at the dollar store, and it worked great. All right, so first things first, we are going to cut the poster board in the size that we want. And then we're going to cut the pool noodle in slices of about 1 inch thick, give or take. We're going to do 6 of them, but you can do as many as you want. Using the serrated plastic knife is safe and is so effective, but you can also use a real serrated knife. Just be careful and make sure that you are the one using it and not your kiddos. All right, so now we are going to start cutting little triangles, but make sure that you do not cut all the way through to the middle circle. Just kind of stop halfway and then just tear it off. So just cut the shape of a triangle, just like you see me doing there. Once you reach it, then you just pull it off, just like that. But again, make sure that you do not cut all the way through to the circle. If you do, it's okay. Just cut off another piece of the pool noodle. We're going to do the same thing to all other 5 pieces. We're creating what will look like little flowers. And we are almost done cutting these. How adorable are these? I love that they all look similar, but really have different shapes because they're not going to be perfect. Look at that. How fun. All right, so now we're going to put that to the side and we're going to add color to the plate. Just some paint. Now, add whatever amount you want, but it doesn't have to be a lot because we're just going to add it to one side of the pool noodle pieces. So then grab a clean paintbrush and we're just going to start dabbing it on one side. Don't brush it, just dab it, okay? We want it to be nice and thick. So just cover the entire one side. And then once you have it covered, you want to use this piece as a stamp because we are creating a flower arrangement. This would be a great Mother's Day gift for mom or aunts or grandmas. So fun. Now don't throw away the pieces because we are going to use them. All right, so now we're moving on to the different colors. Grab a clean paintbrush for each color. If not, you can always wash them and then remove as much water as possible. And then start stamping it in kind of the design that you really want to see. It does not matter as long as it is towards the top of the poster board. So we are adding here the last one. How fun was that? Oh my goodness, I love using these. Okay, so we're going to put that to the side. Once it was dry, I'm just going to make a mark right there, right kind of in the center of the bottom. And then we're going to make stems with the green marker. Now each stem is going to meet right there in that little dot that we just made, and I'll show you. So here's the first stem. We're just going to start drawing it right through that circle and then down. Same here, they're just going to meet right where that dot is, just right there. It'll all make sense in a minute. So we're going to keep adding stems to all of the flowers. If you run into another flower, just kind of stop, skip, and then continue, just like I'm doing there. All right, so now we're going to take the dried pieces. These are already dry, and we're just going to hot glue them. I thought, why not? It's going to look so 3D, so full. I love it. I am using hot glue. Be careful if you're using hot glue. I think it is the best to glue the foam to the paper, but it does melt. So make sure you do that and not your little ones. So I'm just going to start hot gluing them in a place where it makes sense. You can also stamp more flowers if you rather do that. I'm going to add stems to the pieces that we just added. Look how cute this is looking. Oh my word. All right. We're going to make a bow. We're going to put all this together. We're going to take this ribbon. We're going to cut 3 pieces of 10-inch long, and then we're going to cut 1 extra one so that we can tie everything together. I'm going to show you how to make a very simple multiple loop bow. We're going to take each strip and we're going to loop it like an awareness ribbon, and then we're going to scrunch it in the middle just like that. Do the same thing with the other one, scrunch it in the middle and put it behind the first one. And then with the third one, again, loop it, scrunch it, and place it behind. We're going to take the additional piece and we're just going to wrap it around the center and just tie it in a nice tight knot. And then you just kind of adjust as needed. And this is what we're going to do to hot glue right there in the center. That's why we needed all of them to meet right there. And it makes it look like the ribbon is tied around the stems. How fun. Cut off any excess and look how gorgeous this is. I love the way this turned out. You can add any message to it. Happy Mother's Day. I love you. Whatever you want. Let me know what you think down in. We're going to start with 2 clothespin and 4 buttons. 4 of them have to be in the same size, and then the 4 other ones in the same size. So just make sure you have 4 in each size. We are going to use 2 paints. I'm just going to pick red and yellow, but you can pick whatever color you want, as well as 2 complementing markers. I'm picking green and blue. 2 paintbrushes so that we can paint. A dowel, whichever dowel size, just size enough that it can fit inside a straw. And then we're going to need a straw. You can use any color. I happen to have a clear one, but you can use whatever you have on hand. I'm also going to use my hot glue, which I think is perfect for this project, my scissors, and let's get started. We are going to paint one of the clothespin in the red tone. Again, use whatever color you want. Just make sure you paint every section, every corner on the inside as well. And then we're going to do the same thing with the second clothespin, but we're going to paint it in the color yellow. Once they were dry, we're going to start with the red one. I am going to take my blue marker and we're just going to do a cute design on top. We're making little race cars with these clothespin. So I'm just going to make little stripes and circles, whatever you feel like doing, you do. You can also do words or maybe even stickers, whatever you want. You can also add googly eyes and make them into characters. The possibilities are endless. We're just going to keep it simple. We're just going to make some dots, some designs, and some wiggle lines. And we're using the green one on the yellow because they complement each other. Now we're going to take the straw. We're going to mark 2 inches and cut 4 pieces so that we have 2 for each clothespin. This is what we're going to use to insert the dowel, and that way we can add some wheels to the clothespin. So once I had the 4 pieces nicely cut and even, we're going to hot glue them 2 on each clothespin. 1 on the front, right where that little opening circle is, so just add a dab of glue and place it centered. And 1 in the back, again, just place it center. And we're going to do the same thing on the yellow one. Once these are attached, we're going to then place a dowel inside. We're just going to cut the dowel just a little bigger than the straw, so just a little longer. We're going to start with the red one again. We're just going to make sure that it overlaps outside of the straw just a little bit. And then we're going to cut 3 more so that we can have 4, 2 for each clothespin. We're going to hot glue the dowel onto the buttons. So we're going to do one at a time, and we're just going to hold it in place until it hardens, making sure that it's nicely straight. And we're going to do 2 of the smaller ones as well. So start with 2 for each little car. Then we're going to insert inside the straw, just like you see me doing here, and we're going to hot glue the other button on the other side. Just make sure that the straw does not hot glue onto the glue. We're going to do the same thing on the yellow one. Now for this one, I changed my mind, and I'm just going to make it a little smaller. So I'm going to cut the straw just a little bit, and I'm also going to cut the dowel just to match the size. I just thought they were just a little too long on the red one. And then we're going to add the buttons on each opposite side, holding it in place until it hardens. Look how adorable these look. Oh my word, you can make an entire collection. Love these. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Crafting aisle has tons of these beads. They're plastic, they're wood, you name it. We are going to be using some alphabet beads as well as beads, regular beads. Now you can use wooden beads like these that I have. They come in different sizes and shapes. But today I am going to use the plastic ones, some metallic, it's some colorful ones. I am also going to be using 2 of these binder rings. You can find these in the kind of like the office aisle at Dollar Tree. They come 6 in a pack. We're going to use 2 of them actually. Now you can also use the smaller ones if you want. We're also going to be using some sort of string. I'm going to use the white jute string, but you can use any color you want. I'm going to use this lid as just kind of a container to contain the beads as I'm using them. I'm going to open up one of the rings, and I'm going to start threading the clear, colorful beads on this one. These are not the metallic ones. We'll do that in a minute. And I'm just going to start threading one side first of the ring, then the other side. I'm going to keep the color pattern as I choose, but you can do whatever pattern you want or all in one color. Now, because the ring has the little attachment where it can open, you want to do one side at a time, and once you're done, you just want to snap the ends, and then you have a beautiful ring bead. I love it. It's so fun. Now we're going to do the same thing with the metallic beads. We're just going to place them in the lid here, again, just to contain them, and we're going to do a color pattern that I choose, and we're going to do one side at a time. And then once they are full, then we are just going to close it up, snap it together, and then you have a fun bead ring. All right, we're also going to be using these stitching needles. Now, you don't have to use these. You can thread them by hand. It just goes a little quicker when you use the needle. I'm going to take my alphabet beads out as well, and then we're going to start by threading one bead through one of the strings, okay? And then we are going to thread both ends of the string through the stitching needle. Now you can skip this if you're not going to use the stitching needle. Then we're going to start threading all the other beads. Now I'm going to choose a pattern that I want, and I'm just going to add several beads, okay? I think I ended up adding like maybe 7 or 8, but you can choose the amount you want. Once you have those beads threaded, I'm going to remove the needle, and then we're just going to thread the alphabet letters on one of the strings, not both. I'm going to do my daughter's name and my son's name on these, but you can choose whatever you want it to say. You can say, I love you. You can say Happy Mother's Day, whatever you want. So I'm just going to keep threading letter by letter. You see that there. Then I'm going to thread both ends again through the stitching needle so that I can finish threading the other beads that are going to go on the other side of the name. And I'm going to keep the same color pattern once again, but you choose whatever you want. Once you have all the beads threaded, then it's time to attach this piece to the ring. So we're just going to open it up just like you see me doing here, and we're just going to tie it in a very simple knot. We're going to cut off the excess, and I did add a little dab of hot glue. You don't have to. This is just going to secure everything in place. All right, we're going to repeat the process. Now I'm going to speed it up, but this is just a review. I threaded one bead first through one string, then threaded both ends through the stitching needle, threaded the beads that I wanted in the color pattern that I wanted. Then I removed the stitching needle, and I'm just going to thread one of the strings spelling out my daughter's name. And then we're going to thread those ends once again through the stitching needle, and we're going to finish threading those beads in the same color pattern. Once I have them threaded, I'm just going to remove the needle, open it up, and we're going to tie it onto the ring, making a simple knot, securing it with a little dab of hot glue, cutting off the excess, and you have a fun gift that you can give your kiddos or anyone in your family. I love the way these turned out. You can make as many as you want. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. We are crafting 3 different beautiful crafts using these peel and stick decals from the Dollar Tree. This one has a fun design. We're also going to be using for this first project some clear packing tape. We're going to use scissors as well as a scraper, but you can also use a credit card or a gift card. I'm going to use my hole puncher as well as some ribbon. The thinner the ribbon, the better, but I'm going to use this one and make it work. All right, we're going to start by peeling off some of the tape. I would say about 10 to 12 inches. We're going to put the sticky side up. Then we're going to take the sticker that we're going to be using. I'm going to use this one. It's so fun, a little lighthouse. We're going to place it on the sticky side, kind of centered as possible, and then stick it very well. We're going to cut off about 2 inches from the top and 2 inches on top. Then we are going to take another piece of the tape and we are going to place it directly on top. Sticky side to sticky side. We are creating a fun bookmark. This will be such a fun project you can make. Now, you want to stick it as best as you can, cut off the excess, and I'm going to use my scraper. Again, you can use your credit card or a gift card. We're just going to remove any bubbles and just make sure it's nicely stuck. I'm going to cut off the top excess, leaving about 1 inch on top and about 1/2 inch on the bottom. I want to cut off any excess sticker that sticks out on the sides, and we're going to poke a hole or punch a hole right on top. We are now going to be placing the ribbon. Now this one, as I mentioned, is not as thin as I'd like. So I'm just going to cut off whatever I think. I think I cut about maybe 20 inches, give or take. And then I'm just going to cut it directly in half, making it a lot thinner. Then we're going to thread one at a time, and we're just going to tie it in a very simple knot. You can just knot it, or you can make a bow, whatever you want, works well. I think this is such a fun craft. You can make this with any stickers, add whatever you want to it. But I'd love to know what you think. Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take the leftover stickers from the decal set, a piece of leftover poster board, or you can use paper if you want. I'm going to use 2 popsicle sticks. I didn't have the larger ones, so I'm just going to use these small ones. And then I'm also going to use my scissors as well as some hot glue, but you can use regular glue if you want. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut off 2 pieces of the poster board in a size that will fit the stickers that you're going to use. So these are the ones we're going to use, and you can see here that the stickers will fit nicely inside of it. Once I have it, I'm just going to hot glue the popsicle stick to the bottom. I would say right in the center and about 1/2 inch up. We're going to take one of the stickers and we're going to place it, lining it up to the bottom as best as possible, and then just sticking it right over the popsicle stick and onto the poster board. And we're going to do the same thing for the other one. We're going to create cute little popsicle stick figures or just characters. This will be great for story time or as Muppets, whatever you want to use them for. How fun. So now we're just going to cut off the excess poster board. You're going to just want to follow the sticker design. Do the best you can. It does not have to be perfect, of course. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other one. These turned out so adorable. Again, you can use any sticker you want. I love these. It will be for great summertime reading. Love, love, love. Let me know what you think of this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take another poster board. This is an 11 by 16 inch and 3 paints. We're going to do a darker blue, a lighter blue, and a sandstone. This is just like a beige color. We're going to use the leftover stickers from the decal set. And we're going to start painting. My friends, this is when you can have fun. You can do this outdoors, wherever you want. We're going to paint the top portion in the light blue. I would say paint about a little bit more than 2/3 of the page, give or take. Then we're going to do the darker blue in the center. And I think you know what we're going with this, right? We're creating an ocean, a beach side. And then we're going to take the beige tone and we're going to do the bottom. And this is going to mimic what will look like the sand. Look how cute that is. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Please don't look for perfection. All right, so now we are going to start adding the stickers and we're just going to create a story, whatever we want to do. I want to place the little palm tree right here. I think it's absolutely adorable. We're going to put the ship right on the water, and then we're going to keep adding stickers here and there wherever I feel like it would just go with the story. Use your imagination and have fun. I added as many stickers as I wanted, and now we're going to create little tiny birds. We're just going to use this black marker from Dollar Tree. We're just going to create little bundles of birds. These could be seagulls. They could be whatever you want. We're going to add a couple bundles here and there. I'm going to use my yellow marker, but you can use yellow paint if you want. We're just going to create a sun right here on the upper left-hand corner, or you can do it as a sunset. That would be pretty. Love the possibilities. All right, so then we are going to add a little bit of highlights with a white marker. This is just to add a little details to the water. This is completely optional, of course, but how fun is this? You can continue to add little characters. You can add whatever you want. Love the way this one turned out. How fun are these crafts? Love that we use one set of decals for 3 crafts you can do 3 different days this summer season. Let me know what you are starting with this pack of paper. It comes in beautiful designs at Dollar Tree. How fun are these? You can use these for birthday cards, for note cards, picture frames, all kinds of things. We're also going to be using some double-sided tape and some beads. Now you can use whatever beads you have as long as they are on the smaller side. You can use any string you want. I have this little stretchy one. Not sure if it's going to work, but we're going to try it. We're going to use my scissors, the heart-shaped hole puncher. We're also going to be using this glittery paper heart. This is just what I had, but then I changed my mind, and I'll show you what I changed it to. I'm going to use some ribbon. This is one from Dollar Tree. Just use any ribbon that complements the paper you're going to use. I'm also going to use a regular hole puncher, and we're going to get started. I'm going to mark 2 inches from top and bottom, trace a line, and then we're going to cut it. We're going to create not 1, not 2, but 3 fun bookmarks you can make with your kiddos. This will be great for them, or it can be great gifts for their friends or for grandma or grandpa, whatever. We're going to save that second part or that third piece because we're going to use it for another one. But we created 2 pieces that are similar in shape and size. We're going to use the double-sided tape and we're going to join them together. You can also use glue if you want. I have found that the tape is just a little cleaner. You can also use glue stick if you'd like. It was not as even as I thought, so I'm just going to even it out by cutting off any excess. I'm going to mark 1 inch going down and 1/2 inch going towards the inside on the top, and we're going to angle cut this to look more like a bookmark. How cute is that? We're going to hole punch a hole to the top. This is where we're going to thread the ribbon in just a minute, and then we're going to cut out the heart-shaped hole at the bottom right corner, and we are going to leave this one pretty simple, but I'll show you some other techniques in the other 2 bookmarks coming up. We're going to take some of the ribbon, we're just going to thread it through, and then we're just going to make a very simple knot. That's it. Put it to the side and let's work on the second one. We're going to take the leftover piece from the previous project and a coordinating other stock paper from the pack. We're going to trace it and cut it to fit. And once again, don't toss that leftover because we're going to use it on the second one. This one I have not taped together yet, but we are dry fitting in. Just keep them together. And then we're going to take that same heart-shaped hole puncher. We're going to punch a hole. And now we are going to glue the 2 sides of the heart with a little bit of that double-sided tape. We're going to thread some of these beads. To be exact, it's going to be 4 of them onto my string. And then we are going to place them right there. We're going to tack that little end piece onto the double-sided tape on each side. Cut off the excess. You know where we're going with this, right? It's a little fidget bookmarker. Oh my word. All right, we're going to thread 3 more and place them right underneath. Again, just attaching it to the double-sided tape, cutting off the excess. Now we're going to add a double-sided tape to the rest of the bookmark to the top of it. And then on the bottom, we're going to place hot glue and make sure, this is very important, make sure you add hot glue where the strings are also on the inside, okay? That's going to hold it. But look how adorable this is. It's like a little fidget. I love it. All right, once again, we're going to angle cut those tops. So we're just going to make a couple marks and then cut them. Hole punch a hole to the top and thread the ribbon. You can use any ribbon you want. And don't forget, this is double-sided. So not only is it a fidget bookmark, but it's double-sided. And then we're just going to make a very simple knot. And this will be for this one. How adorable is this? Look at that. You can play around with it. So fun. And again, it's double-sided. I'll show you the end result here in just a minute. On to the third bookmark. We're going to cut this one in half. And then we're going to use it to make another bookmark. We're going to do the same thing we did earlier. We're going to just kind of cut off any excess to the side. Now this one, we're going to use the hole puncher that is the round shaped. I thought about doing the hearts, but it would be better with the round one. I'm going to make 3 of them, just like you see here. Now, they're not glued together yet. Now, this is the glitter paper. I changed my mind. Instead of the red, we're going to use this one. This one's like a sticker. You can find these at Dollar Tree. So we're going to remove the back paper and stick them together, just like you see here. Then we're going to take one of the sides of the bookmark, add the double-sided tape, and we're going to glue it to one of the sides of the glittery paper. You're going to see what I'm doing. We're going to just center it right in the center, and then we are going to cut off the excess. This is going to be a beautiful contrast with that glitter. The colors really complement each other. And then once it's cut off out all of the edges, then we are going to attach the other side. Now I'm going to match the circles, so make sure that you are attaching it where the circles are kind of like matching to each other. Adding the double-sided tape and then placing it on the opposite side, just like this. How fun. You can use any color combination you want. This will also be really fun if you use clear paper, like a clear plastic instead of the glitter, and then it's going to be a see-through. That'll be fun. All right, so we're going to angle cut and mark those top, and then we're going to hole punch the hole on the top so we can thread the ribbon, make a very simple knot, and here are all 3 of them together. This will make such a fun gift. Such a fun gift for their friends, for you, for grandma, grandpa, whatever. We're going to do a fun craft using paper roll. These are just ones that we have had here. We kind of keep them for crafts. We're also going to use this sticky sticker style glittery paper from Dollar Tree. If you don't have it, you can use regular construction paper or even paint. We're going to use ribbon. These are just 2 ribbon that complement the design very nicely, but use what you have at home. We're going to use these Dollar Tree letter stickers, as well as some regular stickers. They're just going to be fun ones here and there. Just pick whatever you have that you think will complement the design. We're also going to use my hot glue, and we are going to use my scissors. We're going to start with the pink paper, and we're just going to take the roll and just mark 3 areas going up the long ways. And then we're going to take my ruler, which we're going to use a ruler too. We're going to trace a line down those dots, and then we're going to cut. Once we have it cut, we are going to fold it in half, and we are going to cut right down that middle section. This is because one of these will cover both of the rolls if you cut them in half. We're going to remove the back just like a sticker, and we're going to place the roll, and we're just going to roll it around. Now, if it's a little uneven on the edges, you can trim it and cut it if you want. Mine was a little uneven. That's okay. We're going to cover it up anyways. We're going to do the same thing with the second roll. Remove the sticky part or the paper from the back, and we're going to cover up the roll just like you see me doing here. And again, you can trim, see like I'm doing, any excess, but again, we're going to cover that up so it won't matter. Here they are. We're going to do the same thing with the blue glittery paper. We're going to speed it up for you, but to review, we're going to mark, then we're going to make a line and cut down the center. Then we are going to fold it and cut it halfways. And then, of course, remove the back paper, reveal the sticky side, and cover each paper roll. Trim as needed, and then now you have 4 rolls that look just like this. How cute. We're going to take the ribbon that complement each color, and we are going to cover that top and bottom rim. This is why I said it doesn't matter if it's not even, because we're going to cover it up. We're going to add a dab of hot glue on one end and then wrap it around the top rim and cut off the excess after securing it with more hot glue. And of course, we're going to do the same thing on the bottom one. We're going to use the yellow on both the blue ones because that blue and yellow really look nice together. And then we're going to use the blue ribbon and place it on the pink paper because it complements it really well. And we're going to do the same thing. How adorable are these looking? Oh my word, look how cute. We're making fun play binoculars. So we're just going to add hot glue right down the center, and we are going to just attach them together. So make sure you add the glue where the paper kind of ends, where the flap is, and it'll make it so much easier. All right, so we're going to take the letters, and we're just going to spell. I'm going to spell my kid's name, one on each one, because why not, right? Here's the thing, though. The glittery paper was not helping out with these letters sticking. You're going to see me trying to attach them over and over again. I ended up having to take some Mod Podge, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. All right, we're going to move on to some stickers. So just take whatever you want. You can leave them like this. You can hand paint some hearts, some stars, whatever you want. I'm just going to keep adding stickers as I see fit and how I like the design. All right, so here's where I decided to just go ahead and add Mod Podge. So if I were you, and if you're using the glittery paper, just start using Mod Podge from the get because it is not sticking at all. So needless to say, the letters are not the best looking. It's not my best work, but it worked in the end because they loved it. All right, so now that it's drying, I'm just going to add one extra little butterfly there on top of the pink one. How cute. We're going to take more of the blue ribbon. We're just going to make a little handle, like something where they can hang it from their necks. And we're going to take the yellow ribbon and do the same thing on the other set of binoculars because it just needs it. And look how adorable these are. Oh my word, this will make such a fun craft to do in the summer, to look at birds, bugs, the sky, whatever you want. Let me know what you have these two rules, but you can use any Dollar Tree fabric or any fabric you have at home. It's totally fine. We're going to use 2 pieces of paper. I'm going to pick a green and a red just because it matches the design, but use whatever you have at home and some poster board as well. I'm going to use my scissors as well as a double-sided tape, or you can also use glue or a glue stick. I'm going to use my pencil and my glue gun. We are going to start with the red paper and we are going to mark 6 inches long ways, okay? So up on each side, making sure that we're cutting long ways. So 6 inches on each side, marking with the line and then just cutting. And then we are going to cut 1 inch off one side to make it exactly about 11 inches. We're going to do the same thing with the green paper. We're just going to mark 6 inches up, make a line, cut. And this one was already 11 inches, so we don't need to do anything. Now we're going to fold 3 inches in on one side, and then the other side just overlap 1 inch going on top of the other flap. Then using the double-sided tape, we're just going to glue to make a pocket. So add glue at the bottom and on one side, and then that way when you fold it, it's going to create a cute little pocket. You can also use, like I said earlier, glue stick or regular glue, but I find that the double-sided tape works really well. We are going to take the white poster board. We're going to mark 4.5 inches and cut, and then we're going to place that on top of the red envelope and just leaving 1/2 inch from the bottom. Then we're going to mark 1 inch on top from the envelope and make a cut. We should have 1/2 inch from the bottom and 1/2 inch on each side with about 1 inch left on the top, just like that. We are going to do the same exact thing with the green one, and we're just going to review. We are going to fold 3 inches and then fold the other side 1 inch overlapping on top using a 2-sided tape to secure and make it into an envelope. Then we're going to use the same poster board we cut earlier, and we're going to trace it to make a second one. Now we're going to bring in the fabric rolls. These are from Dollar Tree, but again, you can use whatever you have at home. I'm just going to cut up a piece that's just going to be long enough to fit. And then we're going to iron it just a little bit because they were a little bit curled. This is like my little mini heat press that I use for crafting, but you can certainly use a regular iron if you'd like. I'm going to flip it upside down and we're just going to kind of freehand what will look like a little tie. I was recently on Pinterest and I saw this craft, and I'm going to have it linked down below if you want to check it out. Oh my word, it was the cutest little Father's Day greeting card. And I just thought I can totally recreate that using very inexpensive items. So once I trace a little tie or the shape of a tie, we're just going to cut it. And then we are going to trace it on top of the other fabric so that way they're both about the same size. This is going to be cards that we're going to give my husband, my 2 kids. So I'm going to make 1 card for each kid to give him. We're going to use the double-sided tape, and we're just going to glue the tie, the black and white one on top of the red, and then the other one on top of the green because it complements the design very, very nicely. Again, you can use regular glue or even Mod Podge for this part. How cute! All right, so once it's secure in place, we are going to take the white poster board. We're going to slide it right in, and you see we're going to have 1 inch on top. Then we're just going to make slits right where the envelope ends, all the way on each side until it kind of touches where the tie starts. And then we're going to fold at an angle. And then we're going to add a little bit of double-sided tape just to secure those flaps. And that way they're not going to go anywhere. And we're going to do it again on the red one to review it. How adorable is this? Oh my word. All right, so here we go again. We are going to take the white poster board. We're going to place it right inside. We're going to cut on each side just until it touches where the tie starts, fold at an angle, and add some double-sided tape or glue to secure it in place. And now you can open. You see that? How cute. And then of course you can add your personalized message right inside, and then of course place it right inside the envelope. Adorable. I love this craft. What a great idea to make for Father's Day or even a birthday, graduation. The possibilities are endless. Let me know what you think noodles. These are from the Dollar Tree, but wherever you have it from, it's okay. We're going to use some of these jumbo pipe cleaners. If you have regular ones, you can use those as well. I'm going to use my wire cutters, but you can use scissors, and some googly eyes. I'm also going to use my regular scissors, and we are going to use this foam knife. I get this at Dollar Tree, and also a screwdriver just to make and poke some holes. And I'm also going to use my hot glue gun. All right, so we are going to cut 1-inch pieces from one end of each pool noodle, but you can do as many as you want. Then we're going to make a dot just with a permanent marker, one on the side and one on the top. Now then, using the screwdriver, you want to poke a hole where you place those dots, but make sure you don't go through on the inside, okay? Just make sure you kind of leave it maybe halfway there. Same thing on the one on the top. I'm going to take this pink pipe cleaner and we're going to fold it in half and cut it. Then we're going to shape it like a heart. So we're just going to fold it and then shape it like that, just like a heart. The two ends just kind of join together, add a little bit of hot glue inside the hole, and then place it right there. We're creating some cute little fishes. These are adorable. For this next one, we're going to take the other half and we're going to cut it in half again and make a smaller little heart, just like that. How cute! And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to add it to the top with some hot glue. And be careful because the foam does melt and it gets hot. We're going to add googly eyes, one on each side, attaching them with a little bit of hot glue. And we got the cute little pink one all ready for swimming. All right, so this one is the same thing. We're just going to repeat the process. Cut the pipe cleaner, shape it in the shape of a heart, make sure the ends are nicely snug together, and then add a dab of glue and add it to the back. Then take the other one that's left over, fold it, cut it in half, and make a cute little heart, and then do the same thing on the top of this one. We're going to add the googly eyes, one on each side, attaching it with a little bit of hot glue, and these are absolutely adorable. I would love to know what you think of this one. How fun, and you can make them in any color you want, and you can even make multiples of them. Let me know what you think of this one, but don't go away because we have another craft here for you. We're going to use the same two pool noodles. We are going to use a skewer stick. Now, these are those jumbo mega skewer sticks. I'm going to use 2 stock papers. These are in designs that complement the colors very nicely. We're going to use my scissors as well as the wire cutters once again. We are going to use a permanent marker, and we're also going to be using a screwdriver to poke some holes once again. I'm going to use a hole puncher. This is just to add the sails. We're going to create the little sailboats, and the foam knife once again. Now for this one, I don't know why I thought I would want to make them 2-inch thick, but I changed my mind, so I cut them in half, and we're just going to do the same thing we did earlier and have 1-inch pieces. We're going to make a dot wherever we want to poke the hole using the screwdriver. And again, make sure you don't go all the way through. Just go just halfway. Now we're going to create the sails for our sailboat, and we're just going to take the 2 stock papers and we are going to mark at about 2.5 by about, I want to say it was like 4 inches or maybe 3.5 inches, just whatever height you want to make them. It's up to you. We're going to then cut it into a triangle. So I just found the middle of the top and then just angled cut those. And we're going to do the same thing on the other one, just so that they have different styles, but you can use the same paper if you want. You can also use white paper and add whatever design you want to it. We're going to poke a couple of holes on each sail, one on the bottom and one kind of like towards the middle, like upper part. You see that? Just leaving about maybe 2 inches in between. Same thing on the other one at the bottom and one on the top. Now we're going to mark 5 inches on the skewer stick, and we're going to use my wire cutters to cut them, and we're going to cut 2 of them. Now let's put everything together. We're going to add a little dab glue in the hole that we made, and we're going to add the skewer stick, hold it until it hardens, and do the same thing on the other one. Now we're going to place the sails, and you want to add it facing downward first, and then you want to flip it and then add the top one. You see that? This is just going to add that nice curve to it. We're going to do it again. We're going to add it facing downward and then flip it over, and then it's just adding right there. This is just going to add that nice sail look. You can actually float these. How fun are these? I love the colors that we use, but again, use whatever colors you have. Let me know what you think. I'm going to use a red and blue paper as well as some white vinyl. You can use white paper if you don't have the vinyl. We're going to use 2 paper rolls. These are just ones that we collect over the weeks. We're going to use 2-sided tape, but you can also use glue stick, and I'm also going to use a little bit of hot glue, and we're also going to use scissors. We're going to use a pencil as well as a ruler, and we're going to be using a hole puncher with the shape of a star. We're going to use some pipe cleaners. Now I have these jumbo ones that I get at Dollar Tree, but you can use regular ones as well. We're going to start with the red paper, and we're just going to mark the length of the toilet paper roll along the long side, and then we're going to trace a line on those marks, and then we're going to cut that. We're going to do the same thing on the blue paper. We're just going to use the one that we already cut, trace that one, and then cut it. Our goal is to cover the toilet paper rolls. If you don't have red or blue paper, you can always paint the rolls. That is definitely an option. I'm going to use hot glue because it just goes a little quicker, but you can also use glue stick, like I said, or double-sided tape. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side just to secure it in place and then cut off the excess. And then I want that to be flush, so I'm just going to add a little more hot glue and then make it nice and flush. I'm going to do the same thing with the red roll. All right, so we're going to grab the white vinyl. Again, I found this one at Dollar Tree, but you can also use regular white vinyl if you have it from somewhere else. I'm going to cut several strips. These are about 1/2 inch thick, give or take. And then I'm going to use the rest, and I'm just going to punch some stars. This is going to be a little bit of a patriotic craft. We're going to start with the strips of white vinyl. We're just going to start adding the white stripes on the red roll, and we're going to do that all the way to the bottom, leaving the same thickness of red in between. I am not going to add the stars on the blue roll, and I'm just going to add them just here and there, just leaving enough space in between them, even if I have some left over. The goal is to have it covered as evenly as possible. And they are looking so cute. All right, so now we're going to move on to creating a cone-like to the top. Now, this is just going to be a little rockets we're going to create. So we're just going to shape each leftover piece of paper, and we're going to secure with hot glue and then cut off the bottom so that it's nice and flat. Once we have it flat, we are going to add it to the top of the red one. So the blue cone is going to go on the red roll, and the red cone is going to go on the blue roll. So I added a little bit of glue on the rim of the toilet paper roll, and then we added the cone. So here we are. We're just going to again fold this in the cone shape, secure with hot glue, cut flat the bottom. We're going to add glue to the rim of the toilet paper roll, and then we're going to place it right on top. So cute. All right, we're going to grab a blue, white, and red pipe cleaners. We're going to fold it in half, and then we are going to cut them in half again. So we're going to create fourths. This is because we're creating like a little rocket. So this is going to be little things that are going to be flying from the bottom of it. We're going to alternate the colors, and we're going to have 2 colors of each color. And then we are going to just hot glue them in place. But again, you can use tape also if you'd like. Now we're going to add these skewer sticks to the inside. Now make sure that the pointy part is on the inside so it's not going to prick anybody. I'm going to add hot glue, but again, you can use tape if you'd like. And I'm just going to hold it in place until it hardens. Now you can use these to play. You can use these to add to your floral arrangements. How adorable are these? I love the colors, love how festive they are, and how easy. What do you think of this one? Let me start with some cardboard. We're also going to use blue construction paper. The lighter blue would work best. I'm going to use some pieces of scrap colorful paper. Any color you have is fine. I'm also going to use some poster board, but you can also use white paper if you have that. I'm going to use this lid as my circular shape so that I can trace it. I'm going to use my scissors and a pencil. I'm also going to use this thin tip marker. I'm going to use some double-sided tape, and we are going to start by tracing the lid on the blue one. It doesn't matter which color. Just trace it on one and then place all the other papers underneath that one. Just stack them neatly together and then cut them all at once. This is so that the circles are all really close to the shape and the size that we need. If you do them all separately, they may not, they may vary in size. So doing them together really works. So now we have 5 colors that look beautiful. Now we're going to cut the cardboard, and we're just going to cut a piece of 3 by 3. You can do any size you want, depends on the paper that you're going to place it on. We're going to use the actual brown side of the cardboard, and we're just going to trace some lines. This is just what I thought to do. You can do whatever you want. You can leave it just the way it was. It's okay. I'm going to crisscross the lines, and then we're going to take the poster board, and we're just going to make some clouds. You can trace the clouds first and then cut. But the way I decided to do it is the first one did it this way, and I was like, nah, I'm just going to freehand it. So then I just cut the rest freehand, and I made a total of 4, but you can do whatever amount you need or want in the shape and sizes that you want. We're going to put everything together. We're going to place the little square right there towards the bottom in the center, and then we are going to make some lines using the ruler and the marker. We're just going to make 6 lines. Just make sure they're not wider than what the square is. So you know how they're fanning upwards? Just make sure they don't fall outside of the square. And then we're going to take the circles, and we're just going to fold them in half. Once we fold them in half, then we are going to attach them to each other using the double-sided tape. This is looking so cute. So when you open it up, it just opens up so adorable. All right, so now we're going to add double-sided tape on the ends. So just on the ones that are on the outside. And then this is what we're going to do to attach, and we're going to create a beautiful hot air balloon. How fun is this? All right, so open it up and then place it right there and attach it with the tape. Fun, fun. All right, so now we're going to add the clouds, and it's just as easy as placing them with a little bit of tape in the back. If they overlap on the edge, like the ones I just added, that's okay. We're going to cut that. So I'm just going to add the clouds, and then we are going to cut them and trim them and clean off those edges. You can add as many clouds as you want. You can make it at night and use a black paper with some stars, whatever you want. The possibilities are endless. I love the way this one turned out. How fun to make this. Let me know one of these plastic gallon size zipper bags. We're also going to use my scissors. We are going to use white poster board. We're also going to use a black construction paper or any other paper you want, as long as it's dark black. We're going to use some permanent markers in whatever colors you want. They just have to be permanent. It cannot be dry erase. Now the side that we're going to start creating is not the one with the white little stag there. You want to use the back of it. So now that we have it, now make sure that when you start drawing, the zipper part of the bag is facing downwards. And now we're just going to create little fishies. This is going to be an under the sea creation. I'm just going to add different fishes and some seaweed, whatever my heart desires, whatever my imagination wants to do. I did some starfishes, whatever I want. You can make whatever you want. You can add a little submarine. You can add a treasure chest. The possibilities are endless. I'm just going to keep adding some things here and there. Some of the colors that I had did not translate well on the plastic. They were too light and you wouldn't have been able to see it. So I just didn't use a lot of the colors that I wish I could have, and I didn't have any more permanent markers. So I just used whatever I had and made it work. But again, you do the same thing. Just use whatever you have. All right, so we're going to put that to the side, let it fully dry. Now we're going to take the white poster board. We're going to use the thickness of the ruler, and we're going to create what will look like a flashlight. I'm going to make a couple of straight lines, curve those ones, and then flatten the top. And then we're going to add some little cute details, some lines at the bottom. We're going to add a orange dot. This is going to be the on and off button, you know. And I am also going to write on and off right underneath, and then add some extra little details to the flashlight. Now we're going to add what will look like the light of the flashlight. So we're going to angle draw some lines here with a pencil. Just make sure that the angles are not too wide, just enough to make it look like it's a light. And then we're going to cut everything together. So don't cut the light separate. Keep the light attached to the flashlight. And then we're going to flat cut the top and then cut it towards the bottom of this one. Now I'm going to add the black construction paper inside the bag, but we need to cut it to fit inside. So we're going to just kind of mark where we need to cut. Now I wanted to cover as much as possible, so kind of cut it snug enough, but enough that it will fit. Once I have it cut, you're going to start adding it and just start doing your best because the zipper portion is smaller, so you're just going to have to wiggle it. Now here's the key. Don't open the bag completely. Leave it as flat as possible. That is so important. So just make sure that once you have the paper in there, don't open the bag. You know what I'm talking about. You know, that bottom portion, it kind of whitens. Don't do that. Just leave it as flat as possible. Once it's in there, we're going to place the flashlight inside. And you're going to see how fun is this. It's like magic. Now you can light up under the sea. And you can see all the fishes that you made, the seaweed, and all the little details. I love this one. My daughter so loved this one. It's such a fun craft. What do you think of this one? I'd love to know your thoughts on it. Will you recreate something like this? And it's so easy. I'm sure you have paper. I'm sure you have this. We're using paper bags because these are inexpensive and you can find them anywhere. I found these at the Dollar Tree year round. I'm going to take 5 for my project, but you can actually use 3 or 2 or 4. I wouldn't recommend more than 5. We're going to use ribbon as well as my pinking scissors, but if you don't have them, that's okay. You don't really need them. We're going to use a hole puncher. Now, I did change into a different hole puncher, and I'll show you which one. We're going to use some stickers, my scissors, and a black marker. All right, so we're going to start by just moving this bottom portion, just kind of folding it towards the bottom, just like this. And then we're going to take scissors and we're just going to cut right down that line, but making sure we're not cutting the bottom of the bag because we're going to use it for another craft. So just make sure you cut carefully so when you open that bottom part, it's whole and complete and no holes on the bottom. And we're going to do the same thing on the other 4 bags. Now that we have them cut, we're just going to line them up nice and straight, and we're just going to cut those edges using the pinking scissors. But again, you don't have to do this part. And once you have them cut, then we're going to start folding each bag one at a time directly in half. And then we're just going to stack them just like this, one inside the other. What we're creating is a little booklet. It could be a little photo journal or a little journal in general. Once I have them stacked, this is where my one hole puncher was not working. So I moved on to my crocodile because it's stronger. This is why if you need to use 3 bags, just use 3. That's fine. I'm going to hole punch 3 holes, and then we are going to pick a ribbon. Now I picked one that's kind of like thin, but you can pick whatever you want. I cut them into 8-inch strips, but I wish I would have done more like 10 because it gave me a little bit of a hard time making the tiny little bows. So I'm just going to thread it through each hole and then make tiny little bows facing forward. After the bows were made, I did decide to add a little dab of hot glue right in the center. This is just to make sure that those bows are not going to come apart. Then I did cut off the excess ribbon to make sure they all match in size. And this is when now you can have all kinds of fun. I'm going to take these Dollar Tree stickers and the one that says home, I'm just going to place it vertically on the booklet in the front and then a little flower one. Again, use your imagination. You can also hand draw pictures, shapes, whatever you want. You can also add a photo to the front if it's going to be a photo album. It's looking so adorable. So now we have a booklet that has pockets inside. So what I decided to do is each pocket really give it a title. So let's say this will be my family, then it would be like vacation, my friends, whatever you want to add. What a great little booklet you can have. Now each little pocket you can add little pictures or notes or whatever you want to add to it. How adorable is this? This will also make a great best friend booklet or gift. The possibilities are endless. For this next craft, we are going to take the bottom portion of one of the bags. This is why we didn't want to cut a hole because we wanted to reuse it. We're going to use a coloring pencil, or I thought we were. I ended up not using it. A piece of scrap stock paper in the color that I had on hand. You can use white too if you want. And some colorful markers, or you can also use crayons or coloring pencils. We're going to use a sticker from the Dollar Tree selection and then a regular marker. And again, we didn't use this one, but I thought we would, and then my scissors. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to cut the stock paper in the size to fit inside the little bag. Now we want to make it just a little smaller, of course, because we want it to fit nice inside, so that's the size that I picked. And now we're going to create a design to it. We're making a little invitation for a birthday party or whatever party, right? Just a little invitation. So I'm just going to do whatever my heart's desire in design. And this is when you can get creative again and do whatever you want. I'm also going to just then start handwriting, "You are invited," and then the date and the time. I think this would be such a cute little invitation to share and invite friends and family to a birthday party or an activity or a picnic, whatever you want. So I picked different color markers that I had on hand, but again, you choose whatever color combinations you want. Once I had it written, I am going to add some design on the envelope as well. This is just to add a little bit of character and colorful and just fun aspect to it. And we're going to keep it kind of simple. Once I had it nicely finished and designed, we're going to open it up and then we're going to place the invitation right inside, and it fits perfectly. You can also add confetti to the inside, so when they open it, it has some cute little confetti. Oh, how fun. All right, so then we're going to close it up and we're going to bring in the Dollar Tree sticker. You can use any stickers you want. This happened to have party time, which is perfect, but any sticker would do. And then you just seal it up and that's it. You can hand it to your friends, your family members. How adorable is this? And that way we're not wasting any part of it. We are headed outside. It's a little raining, but we are going to my backyard to find some rocks. We have tons of these, but I want to find several that are actually a little like on the longer side with a V kind of shape or a triangle kind of shape. So I'm just going to do my best to find a few that I like, and then we're going to bring them inside. We are painting rocks today in fun little superhero or maybe villains. I'm not sure what they look like, but you're going to have to let me know. I brought them inside. I'm just going to wipe them, wash them, and then set them to the side so that they can dry. It did not take long at all. And you can also place them under a fan to dry. All right, so now they're nice and dry, and we're just going to start painting. And now you can choose whatever colors you want. You can also leave them in the natural color if you'd like. We're also going to be using some googly eyes, and these are the colors that I chose. They're just primary colors, just keeping it simple, but you can do, again, whatever colors you want. I'm also going to be using some ribbon. These are just ribbons that I have already on hand. Use what you have. I'm going to use my scissors as well as a permanent marker. Now, I'm also going to use hot glue, and I decided at the end to use some pipe cleaners. And of course, we're going to need some brushes to brush the paint on. We're going to start with the blue one, and this is a beautiful ocean blue by Waverly Chalkman. We're going to do one coat of that one and then a couple of coats of the acrylic paint. And this, my friend, is why I love chalk paint. Anyways, I'm going to put this to the side, and I did paint the front as well as the back. And this is what they are looking. So cute. You can also do any design you want. Maybe you can do like have one color, have the other. Maybe paint pants on them, a shirt. The possibilities are endless. All right, we're going to take some ribbon, and we're just going to take colors that really complement the color of the paint. For this blue one, we're going to use a light green one. We're just going to wrap around the front and the back on the top side. This is creating like a little bandana or like a little mask around the eyes. We're going to tie it on a side knot and cut off the excess. We're going to take a couple of googly eyes, and we're just going to hot glue them to the front right on top of the ribbon. How adorable are these? Oh my word. Okay, so we're going to take different types of ribbon for all the other rocks as well. This one has a design on one side, but we're just going to flip it over, and we're just going to use the yellow side. Once again, we're just going to attach it to the top with a little hot glue, tie it on the side with a simple knot, cut off the excess, and add the googly eyes right on top. And we did the same thing on the other two rocks. How fun are these? I love these. Okay, now we're going to take the permanent marker. We're just going to make little open mouths, just different emotions. This one's going to have like a little, huh? Little confused mouth. Some of them are going to have surprised, sad, happy. You do whatever you want. You can make them all happy. I thought I'd give them a little bit of emotion to them. And we're going to use this permanent marker. You can also use a Sharpie if that's what you have at home. All right, so then I decided to add hair. This is why I didn't show you the pipe cleaners in the beginning, but I just decided, hey, we're going to add some hair. So we're going to cut little pieces, maybe about 1 inch or half an inch, or it doesn't matter. And I'm just going to hot glue them right to the top. Then we're going to take another one. We're just going to curve it the shape of the head. We're going to add hot glue, and again, just add that one. For the green one, I decided to wrap it around the head, just all the way around. And then for the red one, I decided to put it more on the little tilted side because I think that one could be a girl. How adorable are these looking? Let me tell you, you can add whatever. You can add little capes, like little superheroes, whatever you want. My kids loved them. They kept 2 each. We are going to start with some of these petals and leaves and little tiny flowers that my kids helped me pick from outside. And you can use whatever you want, even fake flowers. I'm also going to use some popsicle sticks. I'm going to use the colorful ones, but if you have the natural wood tone, use those. I'm going to use a laminating sheet as well as my laminator. I get this on Amazon, and I do have it on my Amazon store, which is linked down below. And I'm going to use my scissors as well as my hot glue gun, but you can use regular glue, although it's going to take a little longer to dry and harden. We're going to start by opening up the laminating sheet and then placing the flowers in there, and the leaves, of course. Now, I am going to make them as flat as possible because if they're too thick, I wasn't sure if it was going to laminate correctly. So I'm just going to flatten them out as best as I can and just line them up and place them as I see fit. Just kind of looking for a pattern. Now, I don't want them spread out all over the sheet. I wanted to keep them kind of close to each other because we're creating a cute little sun catcher. So we're just going to start placing each little petal, each little flower, and each little leaf one by one until I like what I see. All right, so now we're going to carefully close the sheet right over it, just kind of holding it very carefully so they don't move around. And then we're going to bring in my laminator. It's already ready and warmed up. We're just going to place it right there, and we're just going to let it do its thing. Now, it takes a little long, so I'm just going to speed it up here for you. Oh boy, did it turn out so cute. So once I do one side, I like to flip it over, let it cool down a bit, and then do it on the flipped side. You don't have to do that. That's just something I've learned to do a long time ago, and I like doing it. The flowers actually laminated very nicely. I'm so happy it turned out that way. So here we go. It is cooled down. Now we're going to cut off the excess laminating sheet from the sides. I'm going to leave about maybe an inch, give or take, from where the flowers are on each side, and you can trim as needed. Now I'm just going to dry fit some of the popsicle sticks, and that way we know exactly how long we need to do them. I want to leave about half an inch on each side, overlapping the laminating sheet. We're going to do 2 for the top, 2 for the bottom, and then 2 for each side. And we are just going to hot glue them together to create a long enough piece. Now that I have the top and bottom pieces done, I'm just going to dry fit the 2 sides and do the same exact thing and do 4 pieces. And now we're going to attach it right on to the laminating sheet. We're just going to do 1 piece at a time, first the front and then the back. We're going to again leave about that half an inch overlapping on the sides. And then we're just going to stack the side ones right there on top. And then we're going to flip it over and do the same exact thing. If you need to slide them in between each other, you can. A little bit of hot glue goes a long way. They stick really well. And it's looking so pretty. Now we do want to hang this because it is a sun catcher. So I am going to poke a couple of holes on the top just one on each side. I'm going to use a small little screwdriver. That way it's going to poke right through. I did add a towel to the bottom to protect the surface. And then we're going to thread very carefully using the same screwdriver some blue ribbon, but you can use whatever ribbon you have. And we're just going to tie it in the knot and do the same thing on the other side and cut off the excess. And that's it, my friends. How adorable is this? Now, if you do not have flowers, just basically write with markers, create little designs, whatever you want. The possibilities are endless. So beautiful. We're going to start with some poster board. This is just a leftover piece that I had here at home. We're also going to use some markers. These are paint markers, but you can use whatever color you want depending on what style and design you're choosing. I'm going to use my scissors as well as my hot glue gun. And that's it. Oh, we're also going to use a ruler. Okay, so now we're going to cut the cardboard, or not the cardboard, the poster board into 3-inch strips. Don't worry about the length for now because we are going to trim that here in a minute. Once I have them cut, we're going to fold in about another 3 inches, 2.5, give or take, and then cut off the excess. We just want to fold it. That's it. Fold and cut. I did the same thing on the other two. Now, depending on how many you're making, then of course make as many as you want. These will be great as gifts as well as party favors. Oh my gosh, the possibilities are endless. All right, so now we have 3 little pieces just like this, and we're going to take a rounded edge of something. It could be a plate, a bowl, whatever you have. And we're just going to join one end to the other, curving one side, just like that. Now make sure it's not the side that is joined. It's just the side, the corner that is open. And then once I had it rounded, I'm just going to cut it with my scissors, and this is what it should look like. You see what I'm saying? And then we're going to do that same thing for the next 2. I trimmed off a little bit of the edge to make sure everything's nice and clean and even in the corners. All right, so now we are going to hot glue. We're going to just dab a little bit of glue right there on the edge, and then we're just going to attach that side. Now leaving the rounded side nicely loose, and it should open up, and it should be a cute little bookmark. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to show you how we design these. I'm going to do the same thing on the other 2, and then very little glue goes a long way, cleaning it off as I need so it's nice and clean. And once you're done with this portion, it should look something like this. So it opens up like a little pocket. See that? So cute. All right, now we're going to place a scrap piece of poster board right inside so we do not get any paint or marker. And then we are going to just start making fruit slices. So this one is going to be a watermelon. So I'm going to use 2 shades of green. And then I didn't have a right shade of marker for the watermelon. So I'm just going to use this one. It's a little on the purple side, but it's okay. It works. I'm going to add little seeds with a black marker. And then we're going to move on to the other 2. One's going to be a lime slice, and the other one is going to be an orange slice. How fun are these? Okay, so now that we are almost done, we're just going to remove it. I'm going to show you how it worked on a book. Simply place it right there in the corner. How fun are these? Again, great gift option, great party favor, but would love to know what you think of this one. Let me know down in the plastic cups, and we're going to use a red one from the Dollar Tree as well as a clear one, but use your imagination and use whatever you have. But I would suggest the clear one for sure. We're also going to use 2 types of white ribbon, a thicker one and a thinner one. But if you do not have white ribbon, you can also paint the stripes on with some white paint. We're going to use these little fairy lights that I do get on Amazon, and I do have them in my Amazon store if you want to check them out. I'm also going to use my scissors and my hot glue. I do recommend the hot glue because it dries stronger against the plastic. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we are going to use the thicker ribbon, and we are going to attach it towards the bottom of the red cup with a little bit of glue, leaving about 1 inch from the bottom. I'm doing one and my daughter is doing one. So we're going to create our own, and how fun are going to be. Oh my gosh, it's so easy. Wait until you see how easy this is. So we attached it with glue in the beginning and the end, and we're going to cut off the excess just like that. Then we're going to take the thinner rope and we're going to leave another inch on top of the thicker ribbon. And we're going to do the same thing, wrap it around, securing it with hot glue in the beginning as well as in the end, and cutting off the excess. And again, if you're working with your little ones, just be patient. Help them with the hot glue, of course, to be safe. But this is what the cup should look like. Now we're going to take the clear one. We're just going to melt a hole right in the middle of one side, just like this, making it wide enough for the fairy lights to be able to fit in. Now, if you're going to be using maybe a full candle, like those little tea candles that are battery operated, you don't have to do the poking of the hole or melting it because it's not needed. But because we are using the fairy lights, we are now going to be threading the lights from the outside in and then placing all the fairy lights inside the cup, making sure that the battery pack remains on the outside of the cup, just like this. Now it's time to attach the cup to the top of the other cup, the red one. Now make sure that the battery pack aligns with where the ribbon started and ended. We're going to add hot glue to the top rim of the red cup and place the clear one right over it, just like that. Again, be very careful, it does get hot. My daughter's going to do the same thing on hers, very carefully. To be able to hide all the excess glue that you can see through the clear cup, we're going to add one more layer of the thicker ribbon right around that portion, again securing in the back with hot glue, at the end with a little dab of glue, and then cutting off the excess. This is just going to clean it up and just make it look nice and pretty. Now we're going to add the battery pack to the back. Just add a little dab of hot glue at one of the ribbon, place the battery pack until it hardens, and then it's a matter of just lighting it up. I gotta tell you, this is such a great craft for kids as well as grown-ups. This could be a little nightlight. Look how beautiful it looks. And I have another picture here to show you what it looks like in a dark room. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I love the way this one turned out. Such an easy project. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments if you'd like to recreate this one. And I have another video here for you with tons more of Dollar Tree DIY crafts inspiration. Check it out. I'll see you later and have fun crafting.